What is going on, Movie Meals? This is the spoiler review.
Spoilers!
Yeah,
Nailed
spoilers. If anybody is listening that has not seen the film, what the frack are you doing?
Get out of here!
We've never had a swivel chair
I know,
before.
I want a swivel
Really
chair.
losing it. Guys, all spoilers, Rise of Skywalker. This came out late. It'll give time for people to see the film. But Kyle,
I'm so nervous.
let's get into it. What are your positives of spoilering the Rise of Skywalker?
Dude, I don't.
You just said it brings the fandom together in the non-spoiler review.
I know. I just don't.
Oh, real quick. By the way,
never know where to begin.
if you didn't watch our non-spoiler review, the reason we have this cool setup is because of my younger brother who has a YouTube channel called Essays About Art, does great videos on anime, and he's got Star Wars on there. He's got lots of cool stuff. He's got a little bit of rap on there, lots of cool things. He's got this great setup, allowed us to film here, so please go check him out. He's in the link in the description. Essays About Art on YouTube, go check that out. Anyway, what were your positives?
I hate starting spoiler reviews.
Do you want me to start?
Yes.
All right, I'll start.
I hate starting spoiler reviews. I'm freaking
The
out.
positives of Rise of Skywalker. The moments that made me feel like a kid were, I love the moment where the hero shows up kind of the last second.
Classic,
Even usually when it's not done right, I usually really like it. So when the fleet shows up at the end of that, I'm getting chills. I'm tearing up a little bit. It's like, oh, when you seeing Lando back was so great.
Him and the Millennium Falcon. Yeah.
Oh yeah, him and the Falcon, him meeting Chewie for the first time. Well, why don't we just go through the film? So the film starts with a text crawl. I think it's one of the worst text crawls we've ever had.
I actually agree. I was reading, I was like, oh.
I think
man.
it dives into they shoehorned in the Emperor. Clearly, Kathleen Kennedy who's a fantastic producer, was the wrong choice to run Star Wars. She did not have a plan, and she just freaked out when people didn't like Ryan's, and she was too reactionary, and she brought JJ back, and JJ was too ticked off about Ryan, and it shouldn't have worked. And it didn't work. They shoehorn in Palpatine and just say, well, we mentioned he's back in the text crawl, so you have to deal with it.
Yeah, that's definitely the case.
And I did not love the text crawl. I did get choked up when they showed the Mulan trailer right before, and I leaned over to my brother. I was like, I'm getting choked up a little bit, and he's like, wow, Mulan really hit me. I was like, no. I mean, yes, I love Mulan, but I was like, man, it's hitting me. And when I saw the long time ago, the Lucasfilm logo a long time ago, and then the music hits, I just kind of fell into a trance and teared up a little bit, and that was really great. The text crawl was very, here's the information I've decided you have to know. It doesn't flow, but this is what you're going to have to deal with for the movie.
Yeah, it's kind of, I guess at least it did it that way, because I think if it kind of left it to be a bit more anonymous, I think that's the word, if it left it to be that, and then we were slowly figuring out, like, how the Emperor's back and this and that, then it probably would have gone a lot worse, I think. I agree that the text crawl is back, but I think for at least throwing you into the movie, like, that was probably the best way possible. Despite me agreeing with you, it's kind of a mixed bag, especially at the beginning.
I think it could have been done so much better.
I mean, and then right after that, like, Kylo appears to...
The transition.
Yeah, transition to Emperor Palpatine, and then Palpatine's like, I've been waiting for you, and he's like...
Hang on.
Oh.
Let's backtrack for a quick second.
Want to backtrack?
Just because before he goes right to Kylo, he's going to get the Sith Finder. Idiotic and stupid. It was 12-year-old things done wrong. If people are whining that Luke milked a monster and drank it, this is that version of that, because it's awful. Just say it's a holocron. Holocrons can be anything. They're in the Star Wars lore. They can be maps. They can be information. There's no reason you need to have a Sith Finder. It's lazy and idiotic writing.
Is that what they called it? I didn't even catch that.
It was something like that. We've only seen it once, and I wanted to do this movie meals. I wanted to get our pure, honest, quick reactions because I have so many strong ones to it. And then I want to sit down, and maybe Kyle and I will make another video in a week or 2 weeks when we've had a chance to see it a couple times. Digest it a little bit, kind of hear other people's thoughts and opinions. Does that help enhance or change ours? And see if our reactions do change, because I think that's important. Jedi grow, we grow, and that's why I want to dive into it, or to see if we don't like it and we like it even less, or however. But anyway, so then it transitions to where you are with him quickly finding the Emperor.
Yeah, and right after that, quickly Palpatine's like, everything you knew from 7 and 8, all me. I did all that. Snoke.
I
Vader
knew we were going to get a quick Snoke line, and I'm fine with that. I actually liked that.
At least they got out of the way, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, but geez, I really wish like that part of the story could have kept going. I don't know. It's
as Snoke being the big bad.
Sure, or I don't know. I mean, I wasn't.
I think Kylo should have been the big bad.
That would have been fine.
He should have killed.
I did like Kylo's arc though the most in this story. I felt like, but again, it's just another bit of a mixed bag after seeing it immediately. But you can tell, like, they're quickly, like, trying to kind of fix some things as fast as possible, and they thought this was
the first 20 minutes is, like, his version of 8.
Yeah.
The Emperor coming back was interesting. It was really fast. And him just saying, here's the true story of Rey and the girl, you have to kill her. And then we get the introduction, the training with Rey. I'm going to say this now because... the training with Rey was awesome. Rey is one of the highlights of the whole movie, the way Daisy portrays her.
Yeah.
And Kylo. I mean, all the actors really do a great job. Or we get Finn and everybody on that mission. Great. It was great getting to see Poe run the Falcon and can intro it with Chewie. I really liked all that stuff. That really worked for me. Getting the plans into R2, the training was really great.
Because they're getting the plans from, like, a spy that's in the First Order.
Yes. And the spy was a stupid choice.
I thought it was the obvious choice. I mean, not the obvious choice, I just thought it was very obvious. It was very obvious.
The second he was there, we can just talk about it. We'll transition any way we want. When he says, I'll take the blaster, and immediately in my head I'm like...
Oh, way before that. I saw Richard E. Grant's character, who's like another higher up. I don't know what his name is.
He was a general, yeah.
He was a general of some kind, and then right behind him is Hux. I was like, oh, so if he's there, that's the spy. Yeah, that's the spy. Like, that's... Like, it was very obvious for me. So, like, hearing people be like, oh, he's the spy. I was like, come on.
It felt like JJ was like, Ryan made him too cartoony, which I disagree with. I think he's actually extremely similar in both movies. And I think Ryan or JJ was probably like, he was too cartoony for me, so I'm just going to make him this, and I'm going to get rid of him. And I didn't like that. But anyway, transition back. The training's really great. We get a little bit of Rey's anger and things like that. We do see that they still have this Force connection.
Her and Kylo,
yes.
Which is always still great. I always love seeing that.
I really, really like that he kept something from Ryan's movie. I really like the way those are done. I did not like that it was clearly he to me it wasn't Ryan had this really cool idea and I want to expand on that in a positive way. It was Ryan had a cool idea, but I hated the way he did it, so I'm going to do it the way I want to do it.
Oh, really?
I think in The Last Jedi, well, they don't connect each other. Technically, Palpatine or Snoke connects them. They didn't do it. So,
that's a good point.
Think at the end of The Last Jedi, Rey literally closes the door on him. I'm done with you.
Yeah.
And I think there's an opportunity to say, this is our good, this is our bad, and to really have them kind of clash.
Yeah.
And really we get Kylo, I don't know. I don't know if he grows or doesn't grow. He does the same. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, let's go back. So, I will say this, transitioning, Leia, I think Carrie Fisher, I don't know Carrie Fisher, obviously. I know, I've seen plenty of interviews about her, I know what she is. I could be completely wrong. I don't think they should have used her at all. I think it was extremely jarring, the footage they used, because it's clearly just her going, what do you mean? And then it's clearly another actress as you cut to, it's clearly somebody else.
Someone's shoulder, the camera's behind them. Yeah.
Especially if you're going to kill her halfway through the movie, you just start with her funeral. The text crawl would have worked so much better if we say Leia Organa has passed. The First Order or the Resistance is like under distress without a leader. Something like that would have worked so much better. If you're already going to take her out, you didn't do anything to help her character. She says 6 lines, and they're all clearly digital lines of just used footage. And I get everybody was like, well, we had a plan. It was going to be Han, and then Luke, and then Leia. Leia gets it was just a dumb decision. There was no plan.
That's interesting, because I actually like the decisions made for Leia. I thought it made sense for her to be the one ending up training Rey, because they really want...
No, I like that.
Yeah, because I think like they really have wanted Leia to be trained as a Jedi for a long time, and I think this at least makes sense. That. And at least makes sense more for what we saw her as in The Last Jedi anyway. So it helped me out like some parts of The Last Jedi because of that reason. And I think it also helped Kylo's arc a lot towards the middle of the movie. Granted, I can understand how it's like kind of a really fast arc and a really fast turnaround maybe, but I thought like the use of Leia to help that at least made sense. So I wasn't as upset with it as you were, but you make some good points.
I like Leia training Rey with the little she has.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that Leia was completely trained to be a full-fledged Jedi and she just decided to give it up. I do not like that at all.
Why is that?
I think it's shoehorned. I think it's Ryan. I think JJ said, oh, well, the fans always wanted to see Leia use the Force, and Ryan didn't. I hated his movie, so I'm going to make sure I do it, and she gets to do all this crazy stuff. And it was clearly Billy Lord playing her. The CGI didn't look very good on her. It looked better on Luke. I didn't like that part. Not that I don't want to see Leia use the Force. I do. I want to see her with this crazy Jedi skill.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think it was shoehorned in because JJ was ticked off. I think JJ was the wrong person to make this movie. Because he was ticked off that he didn't get to do what he wanted.
Should we go on to the next part of the story?
So Leia, there are parts of Leia's story in the movie I do like. Like that she is training. That she's like, I'm the only one kind of left. I liked that. And then moving in, we get the kind of relationship. We kind of see what what Poe and Rey have come up with, and they like quip banter anger at each other. I loved that. It felt felt like a couple who didn't like each other, and I liked it because I think it was JJ clearly saying these two are not going to be the couple of the movie.
And it felt like it was trying to be like, oh, will they? Won't they? You know, they're mad, but they're friends. I got that vibe.
I think they were the two alphas fighting. And I think that makes sense because in The Last Jedi, you see that Poe he tries to be the alpha. He wants to be the alpha.
Yeah.
And then transition, we get to this cool new planet where it's a lot of culture. I like that.
I like the culture part that they were showing. It was just another desert planet though, so I was kind of like,
There's not many planet options you get anymore.
Well, desert, I don't know. There's just so many. We see so many deserts.
I'm fine with the desert planet.
But the culture stuff.
It felt a lot like Avatar Day from Avatar: The Last Airbender. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I liked that. Lando does just kind of show up. Love Lando. He does just show up, though. He just happened to be there. There's a lot of convenience in this movie.
Well, I mean, the Sith Finder. That's pretty convenient.
And let's transition. They show off the Knights of Ren, and the Knights of Ren is...
Do they, though?
No, in the movie, they put them all on a big rock and say, here's what you've been waiting for. And they're literally the battle droids in the first movie. They didn't even make them cool.
All I remember from them was them walking by some stormtroopers, and they're like, "Oh, hey, it's the Knights of Ren. They're fans. You happy?" Like
what angers me though is JJ is the one who set it up. I believe I'm correct. I just rewatched the movie, so I'm really hoping I'm right. But I'm pretty positive in the Force Awakens, Han says to them, "It's all real." An apprentice of him destroyed it, or maybe it was The Last Jedi. Now I'm confusing. He said a couple of kids did it with him. That it wasn't just Kylo.
I think it was Last Jedi. I think Luke said
then that was stupid. The Knights of Ren should have been the Inquisitors of the live action. They should have been not Sith, but Sith trained warriors with sabers. Not guys you just mow down. They get only attention because JJ thought this might be a cool idea. Oh, and that sweaty fan in small town America told me I need to make sure I show them off. They're useless. I would have been fine never seeing them. I, honest to God, would have been fine just knowing that Kylo was the leader of them. Don't put them in then, and then not make them cool.
Yeah, you totally did. Maybe people saw that.
I'm losing my mind.
It just made me laugh, honestly, because, I mean, they were kind of introducing Force Awakens. Everyone was like, we want our Knights of Ren, and then the payoff's weak, so I hope you're happy. You got your Knights of Ren, but I agree. It's like, you might as well just make them the normal type of warriors that we see in Star Wars or something. I don't know, or at least
just don't make a big don't make him a big deal in your movie, JJ. Get mad at the middle one, and then in your movie be like, I'm gonna bring him back, and still not make him a big deal. Make him a big deal. It could have been such a cool fight at the end if they all ignited lightsabers.
that would have been
really
cool.
So much better if they do the throne room. Nothing. The throne room is by far the best fight in all of the new trilogy. This new trilogy.
I thought there was some pretty cool fights.
There are some cool fights in this one. I completely agree. Yeah. The throne room is by far the best fight.
Throne room is pretty cool. But anyway, they kidnap Chewie, right? They're the ones that kidnap Chewie.
Chewie gets kidnapped. They find the dagger. I thought the dagger was kind of a weak plot point to get things moving.
I thought this
the dagger was dumb.
And the C-3PO stuff that he did for that, I thought it was a waste
C-3PO, that stuff in the trailers, all the ideas I had, by far better than anything JJ. every idea that I had, he needed to listen to me instead. Anyway, so Chewie gets taken. I did for a split second go, holy cow, they killed Chewbacca. And then I went, no, they didn't. I've seen a shot in the trailer of him and Lando in the Falcon. Chewie's fine.
In the back of my mind, I was shaking my head, and I was like, why are we... I think the thing between Kylo and Rey, when they're holding, like, the ship and they're fighting she zaps it out of the sky, I was like, oh, that's a really cool idea right there. But... to try and, like, trick the audience into thinking he's dead only for 2 minutes later that he's alive, because somehow, I actually don't know how he is alive, but...
he was just on a different transport.
Okay.
There was another ship on the other side of the rock that no one saw. The rock that was high up that, they could see this. One flew that way, and one must have flown another way. I agree. I liked that stuff. The second I saw the lightning in my head, I go, okay, so I think she's going to be a clone of Palpatine. We know Palpatine was into the clones.
Or somehow is
things
in
like that.
relation. Yeah.
Another character says that in the movie. He's like, the Siths were obsessed, Emperor Palpatine was obsessed with cloning and this and that and that. And I was like, all right, so I think they're telling us that Rey is his clone. And her anger took over and she did that. And I liked that. So then transitioning from there... what happened next? We've only seen it once. A lot happened.
At the reveal that...
we go to the ship.
The reveal with Chewie that he's alive, alright, fine.
Yeah.
And then I think they... what the heck happened? I think
we did get Dio's... I'm gonna go back. Well, we did get Dio's introduction.
Oh, that was
the little droid.
I don't care.
I really liked the little droid. I thought he was cute and funny, but I don't really get why JJ keeps being like, every movie he needs to add another cute droid. Like, just... I don't know. But
that's why I didn't like it. I was like, this is stupid. It's not funny.
I liked Dio. I thought he was funny.
It doesn't add anything.
He didn't really add much to the final plot.
Oh, I remember what happened. They figured out, like, okay, C-3PO read the dagger, but for some reason he can't tell them because he's not required to say Sith speak or something.
So he has a protocol.
Again, that's something
he physically can't do it because when the Empire took over, they had put that in all droids or protocol droids or whatever. That doesn't really make sense for a droid who's been on the side of the rebellion the whole time to have that restriction.
It's stupid.
And there was a theory that it was going to wipe his mind to get they might have to wipe C-3PO's mind to get information out of him. I like that they wipe his mind. I don't like that they give him his mind back.
I thought it was just a waste of time because of it. I mean, we've already seen him get his mind wiped once, and then so it's like nothing new. Yeah, it was in Revenge of the Sith. Remember towards the end?
Well, he just says wipe the protocol droid's mind, but we don't ever like.
I thought
see it.
Well, it still happens. Like, so I was like, all right, like you don't. And then when he ends up getting his mind back anyway, I was like, well, that was a waste of time. It doesn't matter.
So There's
no wait. Anyway.
We transition to the planet. Poe's got some stuff back there. Turns out to be a lover.
Played by
Carrie Russell. I really liked her I really liked that character.
I did too.
For the 5 minutes you get her. She's not much in the movie, but I really liked her character.
Honestly, I don't really think you needed Carrie Russell. She does a great job.
No, you could add any actress in that role.
Yeah.
And they promoted her insane for her to have 5 minutes.
I mean, she's a famous actress. People know her from stuff. I guess it's just
and she was really good. I liked their dynamic. Their chemistry worked so well for me that I was like, this is believable with 5 minutes because of the talent of these two. It has nothing to do with the writing, nothing to do with JJ. It's because of these two and
for sure.
their natural charisma, and that really worked. The little guy wiping C-3PO's mind, I thought he was pretty cute and funny.
Again, the humor does not work for me. Didn't think it was funny.
I like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Oh, it's way funnier. Yeah.
Anyway, I liked him. The mind wiping, the taking one last good look at my friend's line means nothing because he gets his... I would have been fine if his mind was wiped had he not gotten it back. And the second in the movie they go, well, R2 has like backups of your mind, right? And he's like, well, I don't trust R2. And it's like, what the... That's so that's lazy writing.
It is.
What are you doing, JJ? Yeah. Anyway, so we go to Rey gets on the ship. They're going to get Chewie. I like all that. I like the drama. I like the battles. Also, throughout this whole movie, I'm just going to point this out, score is fantastic. John Williams is the best part of this movie.
Yeah, the music's
John
amazing,
Williams does stuff with Rey's theme, with the Emperor, with everything that is incredible.
Well,
it is great themes.
Here's
anyway,
something else that I didn't like about that part of the story. They get on the ship and they get the dagger back regardless. You didn't really need the part to have C-3PO, like, have the guy tinker with his brain to tell him what the dagger said if you're already going up to the ship to rescue Chewie and get the dagger back. I was like, you're just adding more time, but we already, I don't know, I just was like, I don't think that worked.
Remember, the dagger was in an ancient language that C-3PO could read but couldn't speak. So they now know the coordinates that he couldn't say, but they need the dagger to do the stupid little compass thing.
Oh,
that's why they go back.
All right, that's a good.
I like them all going back. I like that she's drawn to Vader's mask.
Mm-hmm.
I love that fight between the two of them, where it's them in a different realm.
They're
the best
in
the Force.
They are the best parts,
and that swings back and forth. The background that they can't see where each other is unless they get a slight piece. We do get a new Force power with this ability that they can kind of teleport things to each other now.
Mm-hmm. Like he grabs the necklace she was wearing, and I think she gets
later
the
saber.
The saber, yeah.
I really liked all that.
I thought so. I like that too.
Then we get the big reveal. That you are his granddaughter. You are Palpatine's granddaughter. And it is absolutely shoehorned in because JJ didn't like that his big bad was killed. And JJ could not handle a Skywalker being completely bad because the fans couldn't. And the fans need to get on board with that because it would have been a much better story had Kylo gone completely rogue, completely dark. And we saw the power of a Skywalker really dive deep into the dark side of the Force. The Palpatine thing was, I remember a theory people talked about going into The Last Jedi. And I remember being like, I don't hate the theory. I don't hate it. I kind of like it. I like the clone idea. I think the granddaughter idea is more lazy because you have less exposition. Because if you say it's a clone, which I think, honestly, a clone to me works better, which is weird, that a clone would work better than a child. But I didn't personally, I don't know, I don't hate this decision, but I don't love it right now. Mm-hmm. But I really don't hate it because it explains her power. It does not explain why she's so good at flying. He talks about how your parents... It is funny because Kylo does go, your parents, I didn't lie to you, your parents are still nobody, except they're the child. One of them's the child of one of the greatest Siths in history, who apparently was untrained and didn't want to be trained in the dark side of the Force. But he knew he was the son of the Emperor. Mm-hmm. And that makes no sense. It's lazy writing.
For some reason,
Ryan Johnson's a better writer.
For some reason, I didn't mind that explanation as much, but at the same time, I will acknowledge that it's very funny that they're like slamming the door and they're being like, they're nobody, except they're related to the Emperor, and they leave that crack in the door open. Honestly, now that I think about it,
that's because Ryan was like, you know what? This story could be real cool if we close the book. And JJ walked up, punched him in the face, and said, no, let's look at the book again.
That's kind of, but that part specifically is one of the reasons why I think, like, there will be fans that do like that, because there were fans that were angry, like, her parents are nobody, she's not related to Obi-Wan or Skywalker.
But I don't get...
And I was
those
like...
fans don't make sense because they also complain that the story is too connected to each other. It makes no...
I know, buddy. I know, but I'm just saying, there's pieces in this movie that I think some fans who were angry originally will be able to get on board with here. I do think that
No,
could be
I
one of them.
agree
I do hear your argument though, but
No, I'm just mad at the fans. I'm not necessarily disagreeing.
Yeah,
with you. Just, the fans make no sense. You make no sense.
I mean, Star Wars fans are very confusing. Great job, guys.
Honestly, some of the... I mean, we got out of the movie, and some of the fans, I couldn't believe things they were saying. When I was telling Kyle, we got out of the movie, and a kid goes... some guy goes, did you guys know that the next movie they're doing is Darth Revan? It's 100% confirmed. And I was like...
From where we got this?
It's like, are you reading Hollywood Reporter, Variety, or Collider? No. Oh, you probably are, because you looked at all the spoilers that got leaked.
Actually, that spoiler turned out to be incorrect, so I don't know what
was the spoiler you thought you might see?
That there was a kiss scene between Rey and the female character who rode the space ponies. I can't remember her name now for the life of me.
Oh, the internet did talk about that. We do get confirmation that LGBTQ people are in Star Wars. We do get the general and one of the other
There
fighters
was a kissing
kissing.
scene of that sort.
A lot of people are upset about it. They think it was shoehorned in. I don't think it's shoehorned in at all. I actually think that's a good moment where it really works. I think it would have really been bad if all of a sudden like Finn and Poe just kissed. And not that
I was wondering
wouldn't...
they didn't make it seem like it was obvious, but towards the end of the movie, I was like, are they going to reveal and be like, there you go, fans, gotcha.
Well, that's a problem with the show
yeah.
like Legend of Korra. To me, they do something like that at the end, and it doesn't warrant the big characters doing that. I haven't seen the show. I don't think if Finn and Poe had done that, it would have warranted for their characters. Not that they could be, but the way the two movies previous set them up. I get they have witty banter. You can have witty banter and not be in love. It's true, because we have that.
And we're not in love.
Not saying that I wouldn't have wanted it, it wouldn't have worked. This way, bringing it in, I thought really worked. Anyway, let's transition back, because that's a touchy subject. Let's transition, where were we?
That's a good question. On the ship, right? We were
at the
ship.
Reveal with
the reveal of the
Palpatine.
Emperor being his granddaughter. I think we covered that pretty well. Let's move on to the next thing where she goes after Kylo. Is that right? They go down to that island where the space ponies are. Because that's where the Death Star is.
They go to the Death Star. They find out that that's where the Sith Finder, stupid name, is. And I like the Death Star stuff. It's a cool little callback. That's a way I think you can bring... That's not winking at the camera. To me, for nostalgia.
Which part? I'm sorry.
Having the Death Star there. We get the new...
No, it makes sense for the story.
Yeah, it's not winking at the camera.
I thought it was fine.
I think it works really, really well.
Yeah,
and then it calls back to Rey doing the jumping around like she was a scavenger, which then transitions to when Kylo does that later and he jumps and he's like, ow! And it's like, that is a moment I really liked because it was showing that he's not a scavenger and he didn't do this. I like that. But anyway, so they go to the planet. We get the introduction of Janna. I really liked her. Again, the new characters I really liked. They do not get enough screen time. She doesn't get enough screen time. They kind of tease that she might be Lando's daughter, or that maybe he just takes people in.
I was wondering if that was happening towards the end, where she's like, "I don't know who I am, Lando," and he's like, "Well, I'm your grandfather." I thought it was
him being like, "Let's go find out."
That part was cool.
It's Lando being Lando. I liked her a lot. I liked her relationship with Finn a lot. Finn is really great throughout the whole movie. They do that line they bring up early where they're sinking and he's like, "Right, I have to tell you," and then it gets brought back once with Poe where he goes, "What were you going to tell her?" And he goes, "This is not the time," and then he never tells her.
What was he going to tell her?
He was going to tell her that he loved her.
That's what I was wondering.
That's what he was going to tell her.
But it never happened.
No, we still have to keep the mystery box, JJ.
I was going to say, was that to tease fans and then tease fans with the other kiss?
It was probably a misdirect for the end.
Right.
It's a misdirect, so everybody, the whole movie is like, oh, it's gonna happen, and then when the other one happens, it's a surprise.
I wondered if he was gonna be like, "I'm in love with Rose, and I have to let you go," and she'll be like, "What are you talking about?"
I think Rose gets some good moments that I do like.
Rose is completely.
It's clear that
that
JJ
is the one
didn't
character.
like
I like the arcs of most of these characters, but that's the one character where I was like, yeah, JJ did have nothing for this character, but had to bring
and
her
I
back.
think
I felt bad for her.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I feel bad the way JJ acted towards her in his script, but she, as a class act actress, says it's okay, and she handles it with grace, and her role she handles as an actress and brings still an A game to her best ability, and that I appreciated, and that I really liked. So we transition again, so where were we?
They figure out where on the Death Star the Sith Finder is, but Rey ends up going alone because she doesn't want to wait, and they had to fix the Millennium Falcon. So she goes in alone. She finds it, only to reveal like an illusion of like her darker self, and there's like a 2-second fight. It's supposed to be that like homage to Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, we get the homage.
And then she like has vampire teeth somehow, and I tuned out at that part.
The vampire teeth was a little pushy because we're like in the original trilogy, Luke sees himself.
Yeah,
like Rey sees herself, but he doesn't see himself and go, like, I'm a monster, which they show Rey as. Rey, though, man, that idea that people had after The Force Awakens that she was going to use her staff and build her saber into it, and then we see the dark version of that would have been cool whether she was dark or light. Had she made her own saber, which she does, but had she built it into the staff and had that new style of double-bladed lightsaber would have been really, really cool.
Double lightsabers are evil!
The scene where she sees her dark self works literally up. I mean, I really like it until the second she, like, growls. Yeah. And then it's not good.
That part I was like,
Kylo's there, and Kylo smashes it, and he says, no, you have to come with me.
Sith
like
Finder.
that.
Yeah.
They engage in a great fight. I love that
awesome.
fight.
Yeah, it's a great fight.
It shows how much Rey's been training.
Angry, but it shows her training as well. And
she kills him.
Kylo, shows Kylo being cool until he gets stabbed, man.
When she stabbed him, I was like...
That felt good.
The second she did it, I go, JJ, you are ballsy. And you're making a move I really like taking him out. And then she heals him. And it gets all taken away. And I'm serious.
What'd you think about the healing force powers?
Healing, it's crazy. They did a lot of things that Jedi Fallen Order does. They talk about how you can sense... In Jedi Fallen Order, that Padawan has a very unique ability that not a lot have, where he can sense the past through an object. We see Rey has that ability. We see the ability to heal a little bit more. We've seen that in The Mandalorian as well. And so when she does that, it is a little foreshadowing when she does it with the monster. I like with the monster. I did not like it with Kylo because I thought it was a really good opportunity. Well, it's mixed. It's a really good opportunity for you to actually be bold, where he said, I took risks with this movie, and he didn't. He didn't take a single risk with the movie.
Sure.
And that would have been really interesting if we don't have Kylo the rest of the movie. That would have been really cool. He heals him. She heals him.
It's fine with me personally because I still end up liking Kylo's arc so much personally. But I do get it, like, it's a ballsy move only to be taken away by kind of predictability. I do agree.
I like it for the way Rey acts, that Rey is still like, no, this was not the Jedi thing to do. I struck him down in anger, I'm going to heal him.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
That I like. That makes me like it a little bit.
And then she does that because she feels Leia also passing away during that. She and
they
Kylo
both felt it.
that. Yeah.
Which pulls the turn for Kylo. Now transition to that, we get the Han Solo thing.
Oh yeah,
I have extremely mixed feelings about this because one, I can feel the disturbance of the Force and the narrative online being, well, Han Solo is a Jedi. He's not.
I didn't think that.
I don't know if he's Force sensitive. I think it was Kylo tapping into the light and the light showing him what he needed to move forward.
Yeah,
and
that's
it
what
was
I
his
thought
dad.
too. That's what I thought too.
And it would have been his mom. I bet it had Carrie, not unfortunately passed away. But I loved that scene. He clearly shot that when the other studio for this dog movie thing he's doing needed a beard because he's got the little scruff of the beard going.
Well, he's always had a beard too these days.
It was longer. But anyway, I
like that.
Really liked that moment.
I like that too.
And I like that he goes, I don't know if I have the strength to do it. I like that callback.
And I like the callback where Han Solo goes like, I know. I forget the context of it, but it's callback to Empire Strikes Back. I thought it worked.
The callback to Revenge of the Sith, where we're gonna skip back to early, where Palpatine says the line like the dark side is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural. I think about it and I'm like, I hate that. And then I'm like, I kind of love it. And then I'm like, I don't know if I like that. And I'm like, I gotta do it. Because I love the prequel's quippiness. But,
we'll talk about the callbacks to, actually, no, I'm thinking of a different movie.
Talk about what you want when you want. But anyway, Han's thing is good. I thought
that worked very well, too.
I liked. Then let's unless you got anything else, transition.
No, I really like that, and I think fans will like that too, unless
Yeah.
they think Solo is Jedi, which I disagree. He's not Jedi.
He may have a little bit of this
Han
force
Solo.
sensitivity. They show that with Finn, that Finn is force sensitive like Maz, but they are not necessarily Jedi. They're
Yeah.
not trained. They may not even have massive power in the force, even to, they wouldn't necessarily have a high midi-chlorian account, if you will. But he can sense things with people that he cares about.
But anyway, when that happens, all of Rey's friends are like, "Where did Rey go?" Because
She
they
stole
witnessed
the
what
ship.
happened, and she stole like one of the ships that was on
Kylo's
there.
ship, yeah.
Oh, Kylo's ship, yeah.
Kylo's
And she
ship.
goes to Luke's
Island.
island planet where she burns the ship, and she's like, "I'm gonna do
I like
what
she-
Luke did."
it looks
And
like
I liked
It looked like she picked up the pieces of the burnt temple and was throwing that in.
Yeah.
I love that she goes back and she goes, "You were right. This
Yeah.
is insane."
And I was like, "Wow, is JJ saying a good thing about what Ryan Johnson
He
did?"
does give a few nods.
Yeah,
The talk,
I was like,
the talk
well
about
played.
Crate with our new girl whose name I'm forgetting, Kerry Russell's character, and then Poe, where he's like, the Battle of Crate, nobody came. We called, nobody came. And I like that. I like that she goes back. I like that she decides to throw the saber and he catches it again, showing us that some of these guys, Yoda and Luke, are so powerful that they're not able to just show themselves from the dead, but they're able to really enact with the real world.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like they catch it. I like it's a callback to Obi-Wan sitting on the bench with Luke, and then Luke now does it to Rey.
Yeah.
And she says, I was right. And he goes, no, we really are all living in you. You get the great line in the trailer of the destiny of a Jedi is to confront your fears.
Yeah.
It's your destiny to do this. And that whole sequence works for me. I love it.
I thought so too.
Except the little moment you get the Sith finder and you see it because it's stupid. But just call it a holocron. That's my problem with it. I don't even actually hate this device that is used, but use the lore that's already there. So
I was confused how she got that thing.
he had it in a ship earlier when he first left. He
Oh,
killed
it
people
was
at the
his
very
ship.
beginning.
Yeah, that's right.
He wired it in.
I missed that
and
part. That was on me.
he ran. She then gets the moment with the X-Wing is awesome. I love when Luke, especially after we just watched Return... Well, I did. You weren't there. But I just watched Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And... Not Return. I'm an idiot. It was Empire. I'm sorry. You were there. Empire. Where Empire, he says, I can't do it. I can't lift this thing out. And Yoda's like, no, you can. You have too much doubts. You're going to the dark. And then Yoda does it. We get the call back. Luke does it. That's not winking at the camera. That's homage. That's great. I love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, and it's kind of like here where I'm seeing these moments that I've been hearing from like critics being like, oh, it's fan service, but it's not done well. And I was watching, I was like, I don't know, I think it's working well. I think
There
it works
are
for the
moments of
story.
fan
It's
service
nice
that
homages.
don't do well.
Agreed.
There are that do, I think.
Yeah, and I like the ones that work very well more so than I dislike the ones that don't work very well.
Like the Sith Finder that could have easily just been a
Yeah.
holocron and would have made a lot of nerds happy.
Some of the stuff that I don't like, I think we'll get into the third act, and we're about close to it actually. So anyway, let's keep going then.
So she takes the old X-wing. It's great. She flies in. She leads them and says, "This is the way to go through to the unknown regions." I love the callback to the unknown regions. It's something that's been talked about in novelizations quite a bit and a lot of different mediums quite a bit. I love that.
Don't know this stuff, so I go, sure.
I loved that. It's old Sith lore. She gets there. They all follow. All great. I love the moment where Poe goes, "I'm not ready. I can't do this." And Lando shows up and says, "No, you can. We weren't ready either, and we had to do it."
I love that line because I just was rewatching the trilogy, saw Empire with you.
Yeah.
And I was like, they had no idea what they were doing. Not just like in the structure of like what the story was about, but
Yeah.
also just on like sets. Like I mean,
It's
New Hope-
great.
On A New Hope, you could tell George was like, I'm gonna pick up a camera. I'm gonna hope this space movie works. and I just hope people like it, and then it became what it is.
At least
It's
George
just-
had a full
I don't know,
treatment
it was
for all
kinda
3
funny. It was
movies.
kinda
At
funny
least
to me.
George had a treatment for these movies, and he did make changes on the fly, like obviously the big reveals in the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Where if JJ just had written a treatment for the 3, and then Ryan goes off of the treatment, and then whoever did this goes off the treatment instead of them doing whatever they want, this would have worked a lot better.
Probably, sure.
Or just do what George wrote, because he had written a whole treatment, just have done that, but they decided to politely ignore. And
Politely.
so it's word like Bob Iger says that, like, we respectfully chose not to do it or whatever. And
That's code for we don't want to.
it was code for we don't have a plan.
Yeah.
We just want to make money. And God, I hope Kevin Feige becomes the producer of this and just fixes so much. Anyway, so she leads them. They get ready. The moment where Poe says to Finn, after the great conversation with Lando and Poe, then Poe follows that up by saying, I can't do this. I need you to be with me, and you need to be my general. And he takes a moment. He goes, wait. He's like, I got information. What? Thank you. And then he that great moment of humor, that really worked. The little bit of importance that Dio does bring, I really liked that. I know you didn't like it as much. I liked him. He's cute. He's no BD1 in Fallen Order there. Whew. He's no Baby Yodes. But
well, no one's baby.
he even threw some porgs in J.J. Abrams. He gave Ryan a little bit of credit.
Yeah.
He doesn't completely throw him out the window. But so then we transition. Rey goes down, confronts the Emperor. The fleet shows up top. The visuals are really cool of all that. The temple is really cool until we get that there's 80,000 Sith chanting.
Yeah,
that idiotic. Get it out of there.
I was
idiotic.
like, this looks cool, but who are they?
No,
Where
I didn't
did
even
you
think.
come
I didn't
from?
even think it looked cool. I think it
No?
looked cool on his throne, but it's like I built a throne underground on an
Yeah.
old Sith temple, and he's like in all these wires, and it's like, what was the point of cheating death to just be in wires?
To be evil.
Anyway, so she shows up.
This part frustrated me.
The end?
Parts of the end. The parts with the Emperor specifically. Because it felt like a rehash of Return of the Jedi's plans, where he's like, I want Luke to kill me and then, or kill Darth Vader, I can't remember which one
It's
now,
to
but-
kill. It's strike me. He says
Strike
in
me
Return
down
of the
in
Jedi,
anger.
strike me down in anger, and you will really be the Sith. Or
Yeah.
whatever. And then when Luke finally does it, he always knew Vader would stop him, and it
Yeah.
becomes kill your father
Yeah.
and take your place at my
It's
side.
the same plan here.
Yeah, he copied
And I'm
Revenge
like,
of the, or Return of the Jedi a little bit.
This, there was nice homages earlier, but this is just straight copy and paste. I think it works fine, like it for the most part in The Force Awakens, because it's like a reintroduction to the franchise, and we kind of needed that. But in here, I don't think it works. It just felt lazy. It just felt like the Emperor's learned nothing, and he's not as intimidating
This is a
because
long
of it.
video.
It's gonna be a very long video. And it really frustrated me. I was like, they're gonna have more space cannons that blow up planets again. They're gonna
So
have him
let me
ask Rey to
chime
do
in
the
here
same
for a second.
thing. Like, has he not? I don't know.
I'm going to chime in as
I didn't like
a
that.
deep Star Wars fan. In some of the old Legends novels, they talk about how originally the Sith's idea was always to build an army of planet-killing machines. So there would be like an army of Death Stars. So this is kind of paying homage to Legends, because they talk about how that was a thing the Sith actually did. That I'm okay with. It is still a copy. That I'm also not okay with. So it's very conflicting for me.
So the answer is we don't know.
Yeah, and so the fleet shows up. Fleet's going
It bothered
crazy.
me, that's for sure.
And I understand why.
Yeah.
I do. The little bit of me being like, wow, he actually cared about the Legends is nice, and then the other part of me is like, ugh, lazy. And it's really funny that Rian Johnson, probably after going to I'm sure he got invited to the premiere, after seeing it, he made a bunch of public comments that you shouldn't try to just go please the fans. You
I
should
did see
challenge
that.
the fans.
Yeah.
Because the fans
Which I agree
really
with.
do want that. You
I really do agree
want
with
that. And this
Not just
movie,
for this franchise, but for actually a lot of franchises.
I
agree with that.
completely agree. Guess who challenges all the time? Marvel.
Yeah.
I mean, my brother might disagree, but we're in his set, so never mind.
For some movies,
Yes,
they challenge.
challenging is good. But anyway, so Rey goes down there and they have a talk. One part I didn't like is this just idea that it's lazy writing, and then it makes for a slight cheesy moment where he says, "Strike me down, and then I will become you, and you will be the greatest empress because we're connected. Where all of the Sith will be in you if you kill me." That doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense in the lore. It's lazy writing. Why is if Rey... I get if Rey kills you, you will be dark, you will have given into your anger, and you will be a Sith. That makes sense. Why is it you kill me, granddaughter, and then I will be one with you? And it's the way it was worded, the way it is done, doesn't really work for me.
Yeah.
Let's transition to this real quick. So I did not like Leia's saber stuff. It felt thrown in because he was mad that he didn't get to be the one to make Leia to first show that Leia could be a Jedi. Not that I don't want Leia to be a Jedi. I love that Leia gets to use the Force in The Last Jedi. I don't necessarily like how it looks, because it does look like
Agreed.
Superman flying. But
Yeah.
I do like that the idea of that moment. And the idea of her training is cool, but it's just it's just thrown in there because JJ was like, "This is what I had probably thought I would have done." So instead of getting 2 movies to do it,
It seemed
3
like
movies.
they only did it so that way there was 2 lightsabers available, so that way it will look cool when Rey has 2, but then also have Kylo when he
she
comes
should
in.
have just gotten Luke's green saber.
I was wondering where
That's
that was.
what Luke
I'm
should.
very surprised it didn't
There's
have the green lightsaber.
no reason that saber isn't also wrapped on that island. He
Yeah.
doesn't lose it. He has it in The Last Jedi. He doesn't lose his saber.
Was that the one that he tossed out over his shoulder?
Nope, that's still the same one. I like that joke too. I like where he goes, "Who would toss this away?" That is taken.
I mean, after waiting 2 years only to see that, I thought it was kind of funny.
No. I think it works because I think
And it works.
I think it is JJ trying to be like. I think it's JJ trying to take a shot, and I don't think it comes across as a shot. I think it comes across as him saying, "I've learned from my mistakes that I shouldn't have done that, and I don't want you to do it either." That's why that moment works.
Oh, all right. I didn't read that much into it.
I think JJ wrote it as a shot to him, and it didn't work that way for me.
Interesting.
But so we get the stupid Sith chants. The score is cool. We can use that score without the chanting.
Yeah, sure.
But we get all this. I'm not going to do it. Kylo shows up. The fleet is desperate. We know the fleet's going to show we know that there is no stakes because they did show that in the trailer that this big massive army was going to show up. And all the space stuff was really cool. The riding on horses on the Star Destroyer seemed like a really cool thing in the trailer, and it was a little underwhelming in the actual movie.
Well, that's why I forgot what we were... I think it was like in one of our trailer reviews when they showed that where I was like, ooh, space ponies, because immediately I was like, I don't know if that's going to work.
It's not that space ponies don't work, it's just they're not... It didn't feel like Game of Thrones where you're riding into death. It felt like we're riding and then we're going to cut to somebody else doing something else and then we're going to cut back and the ponies will just be gone and we'll all be taking cover. There wasn't like an actual stakes to it, so it just doesn't work. But, so all that's going on. Kylo shows up. Some of the Knights of Ren then appear when she says, "No, I will not fight with you." And again, the Knights of Ren are a complete, absolute waste of creative ideas and time. They're trash. They should have been Inquisitor-type characters, and they were not. Or at least cool soldiers. Snoke's throne room guys put up a bigger fight. It was like fighting the droids. There was dodging, I'll kill you. It wasn't like actual, like, peril. Like, you might actually lose to these guys. The transition of the saber, love that. Real cool.
Real cool.
Really awesome.
Real cool.
I like that he drains their powers to get younger. And when he was doing that, I went, I think Matt Smith's going to be in this movie and he's going to be real young. I was like,
no, that would have taken me out. I'm glad that didn't happen. That would have taken me out.
I think it would have worked if it had been him primed and then he had a saber and he had a sick saber battle with him. That would have been a cool way to end it.
Well, yeah,
even if he just went young enough have a saber.
I don't know.
But he basically just goes Return of the Jedi.
I just see Palpatine in a certain way personally, so like seeing him like turn into Matt Smith or whatever the guy's name
Not
is.
even if he has to turn into him, but just if he had turned into a younger version of himself where he could have a big fight instead it was just lightning again. He is clearly more powerful though, because his lightning isn't sporadic like in the other movies. It's narrow.
Yeah. I mean, it takes down, like, all of the ships.
And he like...
And it was cool.
Think he killed Kylo. Cool. Kylo didn't die.
No.
Obviously, the second he flew, I was like, this guy's alive.
Well, yeah, they're not done.
And
yeah, he's not
I love that he opens it up. I really liked him using the Force lightning, but as I saw the shot, I was like, that's really beautiful. He's real mad. Ryan had a really cool shot in his movie. That's what this is. That's what it felt like to me. It felt like shots.
I think there was like a second or two long silence type thing when like the lightning came up and hit everything, and I was like, that reminds me of Last Jedi. Oh, the sound came back on, but that still reminded me of Last
It does.
Jedi.
It's
so
a really cool visual.
I get
it's
that.
not as cool. And then they talk about it later where the Star Destroyer is split later when they're going over everything. And you can hear people in the crowd laughing at it because I think they think it's taking a shot.
Yeah.
And I do like the line though where they go, "Why? Well, remember what Admiral Holdo did, and why don't we just do something like that?" And he's like, "Well, that was a once in a miracle idea. Like that's not always going to work." I think that's another line JJ wrote as a shot that I don't think come across as a shot. Showing the visual was a shot, but so then we transition. She doesn't know what to do. She cries a lot in this movie. A tear goes down. Her performance is amazing. This moment, I really liked.
It's a great moment.
And I like that it's not, all of the Sith are inside of me and I have their power because that's how great I am and I'm so powerful and they're all still alive apparently and they're chanting. That's stupid. But when it's just the sky and she goes past everything and she's just focusing on the Force and she's saying, I need some strength. And it's all of these masters who have learned not how to cheat death, but to become one with death and to become one with the Force. And you hear them say, all of them saying, get up, Rey, you can do this. You hear Obi-Wan,
Come
you hear
on,
Qui-Gon,
do better.
you hear Mace Windu, you hear Luke. All
Yoda.
of that is really, Yoda, all of that's really great. I wish you would have heard Leia. It would have worked really well for her as a Jedi.
I thought you
not
did
like
hear
that.
Leia.
Maybe she did, but again, we've only seen it once. But that moment is really
was
cool.
Obi-Wan's voice in there too?
Oh yeah. Oh, I lost
Yeah,
my
it was
mind when
Obi-Wan's
Obi-Wan
voice.
was in
Yeah,
there.
I thought
Obi-Wan's
so.
in there.
Alright.
They were all in there a couple times.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sure there are other voice masters that I just haven't. It didn't even register. Maybe like a Ki-Adi-Mundi or somebody like that.
I
But
did wonder if Hayden's voice was in there.
no,
too.
Hayden too. That was
did
great.
wonder, yeah.
Hayden 2 was one of the last ones, and that was great.
I thought he was gonna pop up. Man.
I still think a Force Ghost Hayden would have worked really, really well. For
I actually
conflict.
thought when Kylo's
When he
being
turned?
sad and he was turning, I was like, is
I
this
also
gonna be
thought
Hayden?
I thought it was Vader. I
Oh,
always
just
thought the
straight up
idea
Vader.
of Vader talking to Kylo because he
And
wants to
then
be dark,
Hayden-
and Hayden talking to Rey would have been really cool. And
That could
that's
have been.
something nobody thought about because they're lazy copycats. I'm taking shots at JJ.
Apparently.
JJ needs to. JJ. Anyway, I'm just a little disappointed in some of the choices. A lot of the choices I have praised quite a bit. Go back. I mean, this video's been going on for 60 minutes, but go back. And I have. I love the island scene.
Lots of shots at JJ. But anyway,
I'm still mad.
let's
so
keep this train going.
So that moment happens. It's really great. She gets up. This is where it becomes cheesy. I'm all the Sith. I'm all the Jedi.
Oh, I predicted the line. I thought in my head
That is cheesy.
I'm the Jedi.
That is very cheesy. And she takes him out, uses all her power, and it kills her. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, JJ's trying to be ballsy, and I love it. I was getting so excited. I was like, man, JJ's about to break people's hearts.
Move.
And then Kylo's hand scared the heck out of him in the movie.
I knew he was coming back, but all of a sudden it just... I was like, Jesus.
Yeah, I heard you yell. Kylo gets up. Kylo grabs her, and I go, oh, Kyle's clearly gonna heal her. What if he hadn't faded and they just were like, no, and then she healed him and died, and then he was like, no, and then he
that did pop in my
just back and forth. So they do that,
comedy, guys.
and then fans, the sweaty fan got what he wanted, and the kiss happens.
And then they pulled the rug out, and then they didn't get what they wanted, and the other half that didn't want it laughed. Because that's what I heard. I heard, "Aw," when they kiss, and then when Kylo dies and fades away, I heard the other half of the audience, "Ah!" And
So
I just got a kiss.
I was a
That was
big proponent that I didn't think love was gonna be like that type of love of two people, like the Han and Leia stuff. I didn't think was gonna be dominant in this trilogy. Mm-hmm. I think Ryan made it pretty obvious that he didn't want it either. I don't think.
That's what I
know.
thought, too.
Everybody talks about Poe definitely is really into Rey at the end of that. You get 2 lines of Poe being Poe. You're not paying attention to the rest of the movie of how Poe Dameron acts around people of strength and authority. Oh my gosh. Anyway,
the kiss doesn't work for us. We think it's shoehorned in.
The kiss is shoehorned, and well, I don't know.
Because for me,
They
watching
do
them
have
back
a
and forth,
connection.
it's never a romantic connection. It's more of a forced connection. That their storylines are intertwined, their bloodlines are intertwined, and I like that stuff. That's why I like their arcs the most.
Is
the kiss is unnecessary, and I do think that is a fan service thing that does not
in The
work.
Force Awakens though,
But it will make some fans happy.
Ever address that they have maybe any type of connection like that. It's all
Yeah.
Last Jedi. In Force Awakens, they literally fight,
Yeah.
and she beats him.
Yeah.
And that's all that happens. There's no banner, there's no talking, it's all Ryan in The Last Jedi. And I don't necessarily
stuff in
hate
their
that they
words.
have this... it's not that I didn't think it could be romantic, it's so shoehorned in at the last minute to give... It feels like it's giving you what you wanted at the last second because I want to make you happy instead of... Why don't we really take the rest of this movie to show that they could? But even the... It's just because The Last Jedi sets up for such a cool dynamic where she literally shuts the door on him and says, I'm done with trying to help you, all this stuff. And that could have been such a cool dynamic of these two people that were starting to create an intimate relationship, becoming the main pro and antagonist. And that is shoehorned in. And then the way he dies is so silly.
Oh, really?
Oh my... Kyle, he literally... He's like... He like does it, looks at her, and then he... Like, that's literally how it looks. He just...
Okay, you have a good point.
And she's like holding it, but just lets go. And then he fades. I like that he fades, I guess. It just shows how strong he is, because only true masters fade and they become one with the Force.
It kind of was that symbolism, too, that he's now on the side of the light of the Force again. And I that's the part that I thought worked
I've been talking...
I get what you mean, though.
I've been talking for 2 years that I didn't want Kyle's redemption. Did not want it. I talked that I could be persuaded...
I was okay with
after
it.
time to depending on how it's done, to not hate it, to where I could accept it. I accept it. I don't hate it. I like it enough.
Good.
I don't like the Reylo stuff.
Agreed.
I think it's shoehorned. It's not
is.
warranted and earned.
Yeah.
I get it. In The Last Jedi there, and she like looks at him shirtless, and he's real wide, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, that's what the stuff I Google on my internet search is like." Oh my gosh, it's not warranted, but it's not even like, even if JJ had given us a little bit more in The Force Awakens and then gives us more of it where they could possibly be it feels like Stockholm syndrome. It's like this has been a person that you've been enemies with, and then all of a sudden you just love them. It's like, oh my gosh. I get she could...
my god, I love this review.
Yeah.
I love
Nobody's this far in.
Oh, I hope, if you are, congrats, but let's...
Comment if you made it. Comment the timestamp you make.
Oh, yeah, I would love to see that.
Anyway, the Stockholm Syndrome's a bad comparison. A little extreme, but...
It's initial reactions. It's okay.
So that happens,
and
the
everything
fleet
is
takes off,
saved.
the fleet wins the day.
Yeah.
The fleet battle starts where I'm like, this could be the best space battle we have had in Star Wars. Ends with, it's a generic space battle in Star Wars. When the fleet shows up, it's really cool. And then it just is them on the ground doing their thing with Poe kind of taking a couple people out every here and there. I do like where he's like, I'm going to go get him. And then you just hear, you're not going to get him in time. And then, Lando comes in and he's like, we got the fastest ship of the fleet. And then they just blow by him.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Get some Millennium Falcon.
I liked Jaina. They get back. I did like the use of the sacred text. That did mean something. Although they do kind of allude to that Luke wrote them, or Luke at least had a journal with them, because they're supposed to be these ancient texts. But they do say like, oh, Luke was tracking this, and that's
I'm
how
sure
we found
he
it.
wrote his own journals.
Well, apparently he did, but it's still convenient.
Yeah.
But
I was fine with that.
yeah, it's fine. But so then
anyway, everyone's happy and dancing.
they're all, you get your yub nub moment, and they're all having a great time. They're all hugging with one another, and that's great. You get a lot of those moments. I like seeing Rose get picked up by Chewie, and I think that's a really nice moment for her as an actress to just get that kind of celebration. The medal is fantastic. And I know people's idea of the medal is George slighted Chewie by not giving him a medal in the old one, and I don't think that's the way to look at it. I think this was Han's, or Luke's, whichever, probably Han's. But this was Han's medal that he was given, and we want you to have it, not only because you're one of the bravest soldiers we've ever had, but because he was your best friend. And that moment I really liked. What about you? Any more on that?
No, I'm on the same page.
So the last scene, I mean, we can't not go back to Tatooine in a Star Wars film.
No,
It's not allowed.
you-
Except in Rogue One. They never went to Tatooine. Or in Solo. It's like we want spin-offs. No, we don't want spin-offs.
We want TV shows. Disney Plus, baby.
Love the
but I
newest
did like
episode.
it. I did like how
I
it
liked it too. I like that she goes back to the house. I like that
Luke's house, yeah.
I like that she buries it.
She buries
I
it
like.
deep, man. I thought it was gonna be like just put some sand over it, but that thing just. It's
I
just
like that she
down
ignites the saber,
Mm-hmm.
and it's yellow, symboling that she is at balance. The yellow saber has always been like a gray saber that Ahsoka has always considered that they are gray Jedi. That they
Oh,
are
is that
in
what
a
that
different.
means?
Yeah,
I
the different
heard,
color
I heard
means
people
different
reacting,
things.
and especially you were reacting to that. So I was like, I don't know what yellow means, but
I don't.
cool.
Yellow is not gray. I'm sure. I'm pretty
Last
positive.
I checked,
gray
yellow
is
is
gray.
not gray. Comment below if yellow
But
is gray.
the yellow saber does not mean you're a gray Jedi.
Someone
I think
colorblind
it
just-
means you're. I think if I'm correct, the yellow one means that you are at true balance, and I think that the idea. I think in JJ's mind is, and then this moment where she looks and sees Leia and Luke standing there. I like that. I like that Hayden and Kylo don't pop up, and because they easily could have.
Yeah, true.
I don't like that she turns and takes the name.
That
I think it's shoehorned in to say it's balanced because she's the evil guy's daughter, but she's gonna take the good guy's last name.
it's clearly a way for fans that hope she was a Skywalker to get what they wanted. Like, it's
half
very
the fan base
clear.
was like, she's gonna be Palpatine's daughter, and then the other half was like, no, she's a Skywalker.
So
He's
they
like,
got
we're gonna
the
make them both.
They got the best of both worlds.
I still want her to be Obi-Wan's daughter. I'm leaving.
I actually liked it.
I did not like
it's
it.
kind of
It
like
feels shoehorned in.
it was an adopted family type situation. That at least that's what I saw it, and they meant so much to her. I do acknowledge though that it probably is more likely than not a way to make some fans happy. And again, I think a lot of the stuff here doesn't really work for Al, maybe, but I think it will work for a bigger majority of fans.
Yeah, because it's gonna work for the people that they wanted to see explosions, lightsaber fights, and they wanted to see Rey kiss people, and they wanted to see, and that's what they wanted. That's what these guys wanted. I remember telling people over this summer, I said, JJ's gonna give everybody who's been complaining what they want. There's gonna be tons of lightsaber fights. I said that all summer. Guess what there was? Tons of lightsaber fights. They're great. I like them. The Knights of Ren still suck. I said there's gonna be a big space battle. There's a big space battle. It's good. It had the opportunity to be great. It was not great. I said we're gonna get answers that JJ feels slighted on. I hope he leaves some open-ended. Mainly Rey's parents didn't. All that happened. The fans who loved The Force Awakens and hated The Last Jedi are going to absolutely love this movie, and I think that's most
correct.
of the casual fan. I think most of the casual fan feels that way.
All right.
I know, I mean, Daisy Ridley has talked to, she went to a party and some random girl walked up to her and was like, I love you in the Star Wars movies. Well, I liked you in the first one. I did not like the second one. And she talks about how she hated that feeling.
Oh, for
And it
sure.
was like, of course you'd hate that feeling, but at the same time, you made art, and art is subjective. And yes, that person was also probably pretty rude about how they did it, but
They probably felt like they weren't rude. but
Daisy's
that's-
great in all of them, and the Last Jedi is the best. It's just not even close.
I think I'm
And
starting to lean towards that. I really like
it's
Last
just-
Jedi.
it's just
Especially
not
seeing
close.
it recently.
I understand there's a lot of people mad. It's not close at how much better. When you look at The Mandalorian, they do a little bit of too much fan service, but it doesn't. It's not killing me. And I said in my What Star Wars Means to Me that I can have too much, I can have none fan service, and I'm pretty happy. And the fan service in this isn't bad. It's just so unearned. A lot of stuff in this movie felt extremely unearned. It was, I don't like this. I mean, I do really like the idea they adopt Rey. Did we get a lot of seeing them really care about Rey? No. Luke does for a bit. Luke saves her a bit. Leia kind of likes her in The Force Awakens. Leia, they talk about how she trained her, but we don't get to see it.
Sure.
I have to all go by your word. The text crawl immediately. I'm going to admit, I read the text crawl and was like, oh boy. I went, holy moly.
Well, we've had those moments in movies.
And
that's for sure.
I
We've had
have
those
raved.
moments.
There are some moments I really liked.
Yeah.
I really like all the Jedi saying, you can do this, get up.
Mm-hmm.
I loved seeing Leia at the end. Didn't know Leia was that strong where she was able to be, Obi-Wan talks, in the prequels, Yoda's like, I've got training for you because one master has suddenly figured out how to come back from the dead and be one with the Force, and I want him to teach you, and he's going to teach me. And then it's like, well, no. everybody who's a main character gets to do that now. Seeing Hayden would have been cool. Seeing, there's just a lot I didn't like, and I like the saber. I like the end quite a bit. Overall, there's a few things that's a little dumb, but overall, the movie is lazy. It really is. And I know there was a couple critics who it's crazy because there's a couple critics that I really agree with on Star Wars a lot. I mean, everything they talk about, I'm usually completely on board, and they loved this movie. Loved everything about it, and I disagree with some of it. And
it happens. It's okay.
This is what it felt like. The Force Awakens was I do want to bring this up. I talked to you about before the movie meals. I talked to Kyle before the movie. This is such a long video. It's probably our longest video yet.
Oh, for
it's
sure.
It's like 8 days to upload
it's
this.
Not even close.
I talked to Kyle about how is this movie going to be as much fan service as I'm seeing people are tweeting that it's a lot of nostalgia? Is it going to be as much as The Force Awakens? Because if it's about the same, why does The Force Awakens get a pass and why does this one not? And it really is the same amount of fan service, and the reason The Force Awakens get a pass is because it's asking a lot of questions, and this one is shoehorning in a lot of answers. This movie feels like the kid who didn't study for the test. He happened to get a couple things correct, but most of the stuff was incorrect. And that's why this movie doesn't work. JJ, I really think, could have sat down and said, I can make this the best Star Wars movie ever. I can make the next Empire. I really can. But he needed to take time and make a thought-out character study. Also, can we talk about JJ in all the interviews goes, well, in The Last Jedi, I had them separated in my movie, but it was time for them to come together, and they're really not together. Guess what? They're not really all three together the whole movie. Rey's off on her own.
I mean, it's a lot
most of the movie.
It's a lot more than Last Jedi. I will
Sure,
admit that.
but don't be in the press, JJ, throwing lies out there.
Well, they're interviews. Who cares? I never care about junkets and interviews like that. They mean nothing to me. Lots of them feel like they're scripted anyway, so I don't care about that.
You know what I would have loved? Ryan Johnson to make this movie. I'll be honest.
And a lot of the fans are like, no,
you, I hated grumpy Luke and Canto Bite. Guess what? I didn't like Canto Bite either, but grumpy Luke is awesome. And the best part about Luke in this movie, and Luke is great in this movie, is because of the way he learned again from being grumpy. And I liked that. The Knights Run still suck. I can remember being in so many arguments with friends of mine about the Knights Run. We didn't get the Knights Run in The Last Jedi. It ticks me off. And I remember being like, we have another movie. It's okay to not have everything in the first two movies. I know we only get one, but it's okay. They might... I always thought it'd be real cool if this movie opened up with him, like, getting the band back together. Like, Kylo going and getting his boys.
Sure.
And then all these guys with sabers come out, and they're really just cannon fun. They're awful. They're not even good fighters. They didn't even put up a fight against this guy. And anyway, I got a lot to talk about. But anything else you want to add, or should we wrap up? Again, I really do like this movie. I do want to see it again. I don't know if I really like it. I'm just confused. I did feel 7, and that's a dub.
I feel like I enjoyed it a lot more than you did. I acknowledge the parts that don't work. But I thought for what they were trying to do to quote-unquote fix the franchise, to try and make a solid conclusion, to try and wrap all these trilogies up in a nice bow, I thought it did well enough to where I think the majority of people could really enjoy it. I don't think everyone will enjoy it still, but I think it won't be...
the critics don't.
Well, yeah, but at least for all sorts of fans, I feel like it's gonna be reacted a bit better, or at least a lot more better than in Last Jedi.
Here's what I'm gonna say. They'll make you realize that I do actually think I like this movie. 57% is far too low.
I agree. I think it's a bit of an over...
This is a 70 to 80. I could even do a low 80 percentage. This right now has like 3% higher than the Phantom Menace. I think this movie is far superior than the episode 1 and 2.
I mean,
it's better than that. But honestly, I also get why people are ticked the heck off.
Honestly, I don't really care about the ratings and all that sort of stuff. I only care about what people say like within their reviews, and even still, after coming out of this movie, I think some of it is a bit of an overreaction. So score is lower than whatever, fine. I could care less, but I do think you're right though that there is some overreaction from some of that.
I'm gonna say this to end us.
Yeah.
This movie has made me realize that I love being challenged by movies.
Yeah.
I love my expectations getting subverted when correct.
Oh,
Like,
for
Game
sure.
of Thrones tried it, didn't work. Ryan Johnson with The Last Jedi really works for me. I remember getting out of that movie being hyped because I loved what all these choices that I kind of was expecting, kind of wasn't expecting. Marvel's a little different because they're episodes of television, and even at the end of the day, they still do stuff that kind of shocks you a little bit and changes your perspective. This movie is a bland dinner. It's a good dinner, but it isn't the super rare, awesome steak we got at The Last Jedi. It wasn't the surprisingly good. You know, this movie, let's relate it to meals, because that's what we do here on Movie Meals. This movie, Little Caesars. Pizza I can eat, I enjoy. Last Jedi, homemade pizza by Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah.
Force Awakens was like, this is the surprising pizza joint in town I didn't even think would be good.
Remember when we tried to do this a few years back?
Yeah, you didn't like it.
It didn't work. I didn't think it worked very well.
I don't think it worked, but I think that's
just
a good
reminded me of
analogy,
that.
actually. I
It
like
is.
that analogy.
In this case,
Yeah.
I would agree with you.
I do like the film. I do want to see it again. Heck, in 2 weeks, I could be sitting down and being like, I was so wrong. But we'll see. I do really want to see it again. I want to really let everything sink in. I think it's clear they didn't have a plan. I think it's clear that I think it is a lazy script. Would you agree? Do you think it's a lazy script? I think it's a lazy script overall.
I've seen a lot worse lazy scripts than this one. It's lazy, but it's not the...
Am I talking to a politician right now? Just
Well,
answer the dang question. You
It
think it's
doesn't.
lazy?
It is at times,
Boom.
but it doesn't anger me as much as a lot of other movies. I think have
Like
a
what?
lot lazier scripts. Oh, shoot! For some reason, Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, that script I think is really lazy as compared to.
I just think that script's crap.
Well, yeah, it's a crap
Lazy.
script because it's lazy.
Anyway,
also.
alright.
That's just there's worse. There's worse
Overall,
scripts.
Overall, you know, and I'm going to throw it back to the old days again. If I was to give this movie a score, out of 10,
10 out of 10.
I think I'd do 7 out of 10 right now.
Wow, I actually thought it was gonna be lower. All right.
Maybe 6.5. I could be persuaded, depending on if you bring up the Knights of Ren again. But even 6.5 is not bad. The tomato score's lower than that. I'd say a comfortable 7, but I'm very adamant about the things that make it a 7. But
Fair enough.
anyway,
Fair enough.
all right, guys, what'd you think of the movie this weekend? I've probably seen it after making
Thanks
this.
for watching the whole thing.
We made this right after we filmed or watched the movie for the first time. I'll have seen the movie at least 2 or 3 more times since this video gets published. So Kyle and I will hopefully maybe close to January or maybe a little end of January we'll make another video, or maybe I just will, and just talk about it and get some more Star Wars love out there.
Yeah.
But Star Wars is still great. I still love Star Wars. Still make me feel 7. Still made me cry and choke up a little bit. But finally I can shave my Obi-Wan beard. Been getting toasty.
Or you can keep growing it.
True. All right, guys.
Do you mind if I say one more thing?
Always.
I just want to say that this has been really awesome. Like, this is actually going to be our last video together for a while. Like, we're still going to do videos, but just not in the same room.
If you come visit me, we would.
Yeah, exactly. Or if you come visit me. But this is just really fitting because we started this channel with The Force Awakens.
We did.
And even though the channel's not dying, we're still doing our thing. Just seeing him grow and evolve as a person, as just like one of my best friends,
Same
my
with
brother.
you.
And to be having our review be this one before you go off onto your adventure and we still get to work together.
It's
It's
It is really crazy that it was
It's-
Star Wars that got me to
Yeah.
finally get you to do this with me, and it was
yeah.
Star Wars that ended it for a bit.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say, like, thank you for convincing me. I'm so glad it was Star Wars
That's what I'm
that
here
started
for.
that
Eventually,
chapter.
I wore him down.
Yeah, eventually.
I peed it into it for
But
a year.
no,
and it
I appreciate you. I appreciate doing this. I
Oh, I
appreciate
love
Star
you too,
Wars for
bro.
helping us convince me anyway to start doing this channel. And I can't wait for what we're about to do next. So I just
I just hope DC gets back on track.
and DC needs to get back on
Joker
track.
was great.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, same to you, bro.
Yeah.
Love you.
Love you too,
Oh,
bro.
God. Oh my gosh. All right,
Anyway.
guys, what did you think? Please comment below. Let us know. This video's gonna get 2 views. And one will not be my mother, but thanks for watching anyway. See you
See
guys.
ya, guys.